Hello, this is Brenda Green, and I'd like to welcome you to Living in the Go. Today, I want to talk to you about redlining. And again, information is power, and if we're building generational wealth, we need to know how this impacts us. For many of you who don't understand what redlining is all about, I'm going to give you a definition of that. So let's get into it. So, redlining is a discriminatory practice that was used by banks, insurance companies, any kind of financial institution to refuse or limit loans, mortgages, and even insurance within specific geographic areas, specifically in the inner city neighborhoods. They found maps, which is the first slide that I showed you, where whole areas were outlined in red to say don't loan to those areas, they're low income or whatever. But that was what the redlining was all about. And as a result of that, it did tremendous harm to people who were trying to buy homes or who had homes, and their value was devalued because of redlining. So some of the tragic effects on the wealth that we're trying to generate, with the banks and insurance companies determining where we could live at, making sure that they kept us all in specific areas, so then they could take that area and look at it and make sure that they limited the amount of wealth that those homes were worth. So, for example, maybe in the area that you were in, your house was worth 100,000. But if you moved across town where majority white people live, that same house, if you lifted it up and moved it, would be worth 300,000. So that was the redlining, and that was a way to diminish your wealth. Insurance companies devalue how much your property is worth. When they give you insurance, they give you more because they say, oh, you're in an area that's pretty risky, so you're going to have to pay a higher premium. That was a way of redlining. So it all comes into effect in terms of how it impacts our wealth moving forward. It's also your access to better jobs and quality schools. It again was limited because if you're in an area that's redlined, then your property is lower, the taxes are lower. As a result, you don't have enough money going into your school systems to provide for a better education for your children. The jobs within the area were limited as well. So many effects. You can't control the property values that you have because of redlining. There are a lot of things that came into play with this, and so really pretty tragic in terms of how this impacted years and years and years of people of color's way to move up in society, a way for them to build their generational wealth, a way for them to not have enough wealth to pass on to their children, to their heirs. So as always, I do have my beliefs. So it's illegal now to practice redlining, but is it really? Because people still do devious little things to ensure that neighborhoods stay the same or don't change. They have so many examples. I'll give you one where this person went into a neighborhood. He wanted to buy this home, and the realtor said, "Oh well, we already have someone for this house, and you need to be pre-qualified before we can even show you a house in this area." You know the rhetoric. And then, in the same token, because this person was working with someone else to see what was happening in this neighborhood. So a white person, same criteria, the same background, went to this realtor, and this realtor was like, oh, no problem. You can come and see the property right away. It's still available. You don't need to be pre-qualified. Well, that's redlining. So technically, redlining is illegal, but people still put practices in place to ensure that it continues on. So that's how it happens. So you want to do research about the areas that you want to live in, see what the policies are, see what the insurance policies are, how they're looking at that area, because again, redlining is illegal. So they're not going to tell you. So you have to do your own research for it. You need to interview your bankers, your realtors, to understand how they're going to work with you, what they say to you. If you hear any indication in terms of what they think you can or cannot afford, or if they're telling you that you need additional paperwork that you know you don't need, then that's not the banker for you. So do your homework. You need to be an advocate for your property as well. So when they're doing the taxes and they're looking at the tax base and you get information from your city saying your property is worth X, try to fight it. If you feel like you're being undervalued because of the neighborhood that you're in, then try to fight it. Put the appeals in. There are processes in place to do that. The more you do it, talk with your neighbors, band together on this to ensure that you can advocate for your property. It's so important. And again, educate yourself. There are so many ways to figure out what's going on, but knowing that it's illegal is one step, but people find ways to get around that. So you need to be one step ahead and make sure that you educate yourself on everything possible when you're looking at your property. So as always, I want to thank you so much for your time and attention. I hope this was helpful for you. Again, if you liked it, hit the like button. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe and tell all your friends, because we're sharing information and these things are so important for us in order to build that generational wealth. So thank you so much and have a great day.